Hey, how's it going, man? Long time no talk. How's things going so far?
Like I said, if I was any better, I'd be dreaming. I'm actually at the gym. I live here.
Oh wow,
Coach Montoya has gave me a little extra room where I can crash here at night, so I stay here every day. I literally live in the gym.
wow, man. So like, let's talk about that, right? You kind of made the switch, after your last fight to Factory X, and I just kind of want to know how's things going. How was the move, and kind of like what made you want to, kind of take that next step and kind of venture out a little bit.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm originally from Batesville, home of Hall of Fame NASCAR driver Mark Martin, NBA player Austin Reeves, UFC fighter, but also a Biden baby. President Joe Biden ended up having a grandchild there. Hunter Biden knocked up some stripper or cocktail waitress, different name, same end result. Don't matter. But um, moved up here after my loss against Ludwig Klein. I debuted in the UFC March 2nd of last year, and I just knew right then I had to make a lot of changes. Factory X at high altitude has so many great people, so many great names around my weight, such as Yusuf Zalal, Chris Gutierrez, Isaac Dungarian, David Onama. The list goes on. And I just felt like this was going to be the thing that took me to the next level. It needed to happen in order for me to be a contender in the UFC.
Yeah, like how is the training room there? Because I know, like you said, there's a plethora of guys in the UFC, in the PFL, and other organizations. I've seen you getting working with Yusuf Salal, like you said, a lot, and just how's the atmosphere there? Because I've heard great things from a lot of different people, so I just want to get your take on it.
Uh, I've never been in a more enjoyable place. Colorado is pretty liberal, a lot more liberal than my liking. A lot of dudes in spaghetti strap shirts and belly button shirts walking around here, and dudes in dresses. But within these walls, within this building right here, it's heaven on earth. It's just a bunch of dogs that want to get better, train every day. We're all in the same goal, whether we have different backgrounds or different ideas. It doesn't matter because we're in here sweating and sacrificing so much to become the greats.
Yeah, and like seeing other guys around you succeed as they have, like Yusuf Zalal is a prime example, right? Look how
Yes, sir.
great, he was released from the UFC and then came back better than he's ever looked in his entire career. And I know you've been working with him, very closely. How has that been, working with someone like him to kind of boost your morale and kind of, get better at your own game?
Well, I want to give credit to a couple people for I just go bragging on Yusuf Zalal, which I'm going to do a lot here. Bryce Mitchell, my cousin, helped
Yes,
me
of course.
tremendously with the ability to scramble, not lay on my back, wrestle, just overall. And Bryce Mitchell's, in my opinion, the best in the world. Yusuf Zalal's not far behind him. Yusuf's a great man, great human. He trains his ass off every day. I see him every day in here, 2, 3 times a day at strength and conditioning as well. I've got my ass whooped plenty of times by Mr. Yusuf, and I'm honored to share the mats with that guy. He's a great human being, as I've mentioned before, and he's going to finish Calvin Cater, and I'm honored to be part of his training camp to help him with that. Um, like I said, can't say enough good things about him and Chris Gutierrez. Both of them have helped me tremendously to slow down and not have this like special ed approach in my striking where I just walk flat footed, stand upright tall, and take shots, right? We have a system of implementing more feints, attacking the calf to attack the jab, feinting the jab to go back to the calf. And the proof's in the pudding with Factory X fighters. We see it time and time again from Jonathan Martinez to Yusuf Salal, Chris Gutierrez, David Onama, as I've mentioned before. These guys win, and we're headed by the greatest coach in MMA, and that's Coach Montoya.
I love to hear it. I love the mindset that you and the others in the gym really have, working over at Factory X. But, talking about Bryce, right? Can you give me your thoughts on, his big win? And I believe you said you were in his corner for that fight. How was the whole experience being there for him, seeing him get arguably one of the best wins of his career, in that last fight?
It was unreal. I've been asked this question a few times now, and when he slammed him and KO'd him, uh, I don't mean to sound like some fucking ABC movie or Lifetime movie here, but like I felt like the T-Mobile Arena just froze for me. I I could believe it, but I couldn't. It was just like out of nowhere moment. And what's even cooler than that is the day before that, maybe two, we talked about who else was going to be in Kron's corner, and Nate Diaz was mentioned, right? Backstory: me and Bryce got to meet Nate Diaz at in 2023, about a week after my contender loss, and Nate shook our hand, and Bryce said, "Hey, you remember what Nate said to me?" And I knew what. Of course, I'm not going to forget. It's Nate Diaz. We've two Arkansas guys grow up watching this guy, and it's unreal. He's talking to us, and Nate, Nate's a fucking badass. And Nate looks over at Bryce and goes, "You're that guy with the camel shorts." And I was like, "Oh hell!" But Bryce mentioned this at that table, like I said, a day or two before he went on and fought Quran, and he said he didn't even know my name. He said, "No disrespect to them, but come Saturday, he's gonna fucking remember my name." And God, did he put a fucking staple on that, huh? And so just to have that play in my head, to watch Karan get his head bounced off the canvas, and with those elbows and him, and then Bryce give glory to God, it was just it's unreal when you're around someone and they speak about actions they're going to do, and then it plays out right before your eyes. You can't help but to feel like you're in a movie.
Yeah, I mean, like I talked to you a little bit before that fight. Like I said, and I predicted, I'm like, he's gonna get his first TKO victory, and sure as shit, he went out there and did the work. He put in the work, and he came back better than ever since that brutal knockout loss, one of the most brutal knockout losses you probably will ever see in the UFC. Thankfully, that he was okay after that, and look what he's doing now, right? Is he the kind of like an inspiration for you, as a fighter, and just being as a better person to be able to go through adversity like he did, and just overcome that and just be a better version of yourself?
I mean, how could he not be an inspiration to anybody? We're talking about a kid out of Searcy, Arkansas, and I won't get too much into his private life, but he hasn't been blessed with the most the greatest upbringing, best role models, best structure. And he stays in Arkansas. He stays true to himself, no matter who's around or what's around or the amount of cameras around. He's going to be him. He's going to say what he believes. And he trains in his garage on his farm, bringing people in. And he does what he does what he does, man. He's got a number beside his name, and soon will chase down Ilya to take that title away from him as well. I mean, you think about it. Bryce's only two fucking losses are against Josh Emmett, former
Yep.
interim title challenger, and Ilya Taporia, who just knocked out Max Holloway as well as Volkanovski. And those guys are great. They're goats. And so I have no doubt my brother, my cousin, wherever you want to name it. That sounds weird, us being from Arkansas, huh? But my dude, Bryce Mitchell, uh, there's no doubt in my mind he'll touch gold. He'll be a world champ, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's good to see that what he's been doing, and how you got a good head on your shoulders too, because not a lot of people are able to take losses very well. You know what I mean? And you took some rough losses in your last couple of fights, but two of your last three, but that hasn't deterred you from the end goal, right? And which is to push forward and just be a better version of yourself, and as a fighter. And um, what are you expecting to kind of go from here? I know you don't really have a fight lined up just yet, but like, what can we expect in the short term and in the long term release of 2025?
Man, I'm just getting better each and every day. That's my main focus. We had massive holes in our defensive striking. Uh, we had massive holes just overall. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Without Limits MMA, shout out to them. I started my career with them in Batesville, Arkansas. Law School, who's produced an amazing athlete in Danny Barlow and many, many more to come over there in Memphis, Tennessee. Love Coach Hall. Can't say enough about him. These guys were great for me, and they were great for my journey. But here in Factory X, I'm patching all my holes. I'm getting the one-on-one attention I need, and they're able to break things down and for this old sped kid to understand. And I'm just excited for the future. I'm excited to go out there. I will finish my next opponent. I've been working constantly for the past year, just getting better, just patching up things that should have been patched up a long time ago. And you'll see what happens in 2025. I will win my next fight. I will finish him, and I'll be a force to reckon with at bantamweight. So,
Bantamweight. Nice. Yeah, that was where I was leading to next. There were rumors that you were moving down in weight, but bantamweight is a pretty big step down. I was wondering, how's the weight going? Have you kind of gradually got down to where like a safe weight and then the weight cut? How is all that going on?
of course, sir. When I was back home in Arkansas, I was about 165, 168 pounds walking around. And it was all the El Palenque. We got this badass Mexican restaurant with the just thickest cheese dip and and rice and beans combination you could ever imagine. And I just couldn't keep my fat ass out of that restaurant. Couldn't keep the weight off me. Here at high altitude, there ain't really good. There's nothing to eat. That's why down south leads in obesity, baby. We know how to cook food. We know how to eat right. Up here, they got hummus
Hummus.
spread on avocado toast and shit. So my weight's great. I'm on a pretty strict diet. I'm working with a dietitian, Dawn Kelly. She works for the UFC. And I'm walking around 152 pounds,
Wow.
about 5% body fat. And like I said, the high altitude helps tremendously as well. Training 2 times a day in this. Um, so the weight cut down to 135 will be no issue at all that I can see.
How is training at altitude? I know a lot of people, say it's a great thing for you, obviously, because your cardio, you're able to push harder, and just like how is training there? How hard is it compared to where you were training before, and all that? Because I personally kind of want to understand, the depths of really training at elevation.
You want to understand it, you better just do it, man. Because it's like you hear about it, you hear about the Denver plant having to play at the Broncos Stadium and this and that, and you don't you don't know what you don't know. That's what I'll say about Factory X. I didn't know how much I didn't know as far as striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and I didn't know what I didn't know about the altitude advantage until I threw myself in it. And it was 6 to 8 weeks of hell. I mean, I'm talking
Really?
about panting, out of breath, uh, in the first 10, 15 minutes of an hour and 30-minute practice. And,
Wow.
obviously your body acclimates, your red blood cells will acclimate, and that's what it's done. But yes, it's an absolute real thing, and it's a huge advantage I'll take into all my fights going forward, and I'm very grateful for that.
I mean, I don't think you really had an issue with your cardio. I've seen you push a crazy pace for 15 minutes. That's definitely never been an issue. But now having that advantage where you can even push even harder than you already were, I'm assuming that's just going to make it that much better, coming into your next fight and be able to push that much even harder, especially at a brand new weight class. That's even gonna give you more of an advantage in when you make your way down to 135. Um, you know, I don't know what the UFC has for you yet, but is there anything on the horizon for you, at least in the first quarter of 2025?
As mentioned before, my brother, we're just getting better and better every day. We signed a 3-fight contract last year
Oh,
when we fought Ludovic Klein on short notice. So we got 2 more fights left on that deal. And I'm just waiting for Mr. Shelby, Mr. White to reach out, contact, and say, hey, this is who we're fighting. And we're just going to fight him. Like I said, it's been 8 months here at Factory X, getting better. They're absolutely that's what I'm looking for. They're absolutely sold on me at this point, saying that I'm ready to fight anybody. So I'm ready to fight, man. That's all I can say. And it's all God's timing. I give all glory to Him for giving me the mind, the heart, and the body to do this, giving me the story to do this. And I'm just grateful, man. I'm just ready to fight, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
you're at a point in your career where you don't believe you really need to make drastic decisions like you did in the client fight and take a fight on short notice, right? You're willing to kind of just let the fight come as it is, get a full camp, and really put your all into it. Correct? Like you're not going to go and try to fight someone on short notice where you really don't need to at this point, right?
I mean, I don't necessarily have to, but if a short notice fight presents itself, and the general Coach Montoya says, "Hey, go get him, Tiger. We're gonna go kill that motherfucker." That's all I'll fight tomorrow. I'll fight next weekend if I got to. Like I said, I'm just itching to go out there and not just prove to the world or my family, but prove to myself that I am everything that I've said I am all these years. It's 10 years leading up to this exact moment. This next fight will present the real me. It's going to be the real me, the one I've always imagined myself being. Uh, so I'm excited for this next one. That's all I'll say.
All right, man. Before I let you go, I want to know, is there a message that you want to send out there for your fans and those people that support you that are eagerly waiting, your next fight?
I can't thank them all enough for the constant support, even through the losses. You know, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my sponsors, Outlaw Snacks, Eric Hattling, Family Practice in Batesville, A1 Trust, Mr. Hal Hooper, thank you, Bruno's Pizza. Um, Trying to think of some more. CTE is a real thing, especially with my brain dead ass. But yeah, man, I'm just absolutely grateful. I'm grateful for all my sponsors and all my people that have stood by my side, and it's fixing to pay off here in this next fight.